When is the right time to raise your price? When you need to. You get to serve from a full cup. You get to have your needs taken care of well in your work and in your business, right? And if you don't take care of yourself well, who suffers? Everybody, not just you. Welcome back to another episode with Natalie and Sinclair. And today we are unpacking a question that we've both actually gotten a lot. So this will be really interesting. We both often get asked, and we compared this, we realized a lot of people are wondering, when is it actually the right time to raise your rates, right? When are you allowed to raise your price? When is it an optimal time? What are the considerations? So I can't wait to unpack this with you.
This one comes up all the time. I mean, this is a startup question. This is an advanced level question. It seems that business owners and founders get stuck in their heads around this. Like, should I do this? When should I?
Right.
What are people going to think?
Well, it's scary. Yeah. It feels like the stakes are really high. But so we're just going to break this down for you step by step, a couple of things to consider that'll make this feel a lot easier to make the decision. So my first thought around this, and I really want to hear what you have to say about this, is when you're getting a price objection, actually, you're working with somebody who's too early on in the customer journey. And that is a great time to raise your rates and to start speaking to, might be the same avatar, but when he or she is further down the road on their development journey, so that you can actually make a big impact.
Yeah, because
it feels counterintuitive, but like, what do you think?
Yeah, because well, first of all, as a coach, if you think about it too, as someone, you want people you work with, you want clients, you want customers to make an impact and succeed. You don't want them learning and then not doing anything with it. I mean, that's the death of things. We don't want that. So exactly. If they don't see that, they may be too early on.
And think about who your dream clients are, right? They're people who are able and in a position to implement quickly. They're like, yes, that price works for me. No problem. I can see the value of the investment. I'm going to make the most out of this. And so they are usually further on down the line. And we see this over and over again. You and I have talked about this. When you raise your rates, your life gets easier and your client results go up because they're further in their journey.
So good. So looking at that journey, I'm going to say another one is a good time to raise your rates is when you need to free up your time. So let me explain by that. A lot of us start out training time for dollars, to our time for dollars. So we take on as many clients as we can. We take on as many projects as we can. We say yes to all the things, and we try to price things fair in the market. Like, what would the market accept for this, right? And then what happens is now we're overwhelmed. Now we're busy. Now we don't have space, and we can't step into the role of really thinking future, vision. What do we need to create? Where do we best want to spend our unique abilities and time? So when that's happening,
that's such a good point.
When you're having that conversation, you have to look at raising rates, because you raise rates, some people might fall off, but you'll start working more with your ideal avatar, your ideal person, and you can then free up your time to be able to serve more.
I love it. And it feels scary because you're actually going to, think long-term, big vision, but it's necessary.
Yes.
What else?
Well, I would say, what is the impact over the next year that you are helping people with? What are the results? Because you see, people aren't actually paying for your service or your product. They're paying for the transformation or results that it's going to create in their lives. That's what they're paying for. So when we are pricing things and we're doing it just on deliverables, on, well, what does somebody else charge for this? What does somebody else offer for this? We're just basing on deliverables. We're not basing on transformation or results. And people find money to pay for what they want, regardless of cost, when they know the transformation and the result they're going to get. So to me, it's really critical to think, what is the result I'm getting somebody? What's the impact they're going to be able to make? And think of your pricing in that structure versus just, what are my deliverables?
I totally agree with you. I think it's so tempting to focus too much on what are you providing? Right? How am I, giving service in the moment? What am I showing up for? What am I offering? But it's always about the client or the customer and what they need and what changes in their life and their business as a result of this experience with you. And so you get to look long-term at what that impact is, right?
I've sold lots of things over the years, all different things. And I'll say, it's continually been a thing. It's continually been a thing where if when I've transferred over to what's the result, I've been able to raise my rates more comfortably and with more conviction. And I'll say, even if you think about fat loss, it's a very competitive market. People are selling a fat loss product, an ebook, a program, a gadget, really, really inexpensive. I was always able to charge more of a premium because I was able to get better lasting results and speak into that. So really critical. And I know, Sinclair, same with your customized stuff you were doing, same thing. You're able to charge more of a premium because of the results you focused on.
Yeah, I think to your point, what we both do and what anybody listening to the show is doing is you're actually saving people so much time and money as you help them realize the results that they're so interested in actually achieving for themselves that they need your help to create. So really, one of the questions when you're pricing is, what is the cost of not investing in this with you?
So
like
good.
To your point, like program after program for weight loss that doesn't work, compensating behaviors that cost you time, energy, money, confidence, emotional well-being, like the costs are really high, right? Same thing with my chronic illness folks, like the costs of not working with us or not doing one of our programs. You could be on the wrong supplements or medications for years. You could be missing out on a prime season in your career because you simply don't have the energy to pursue your vision.
So good. Now you dropped a heavy one for me earlier. I wasn't even thinking about this one, but you had a final thing that you wanted to share about when you should raise your price, and you had me thinking on this one.
Yeah, I got really adamant, didn't I? We're a little dangerous together, hun. So yeah, I think this one is really obvious, but I just have to say it out loud because I feel like we all need to hear it from time to time. When is the right time to raise your price? When you need to. You get to serve from a full cup. You get to have your needs taken care of well in your work and in your business, right? And if you don't take care of yourself well, who suffers? Everybody, not just you. And it can feel scary to price, part of your audience out of range for, your offers where you're actually investing your time with people. But I would just challenge you to say this. If you're not taking care of yourself well, then you don't actually have the room and the bandwidth to give the most of yourself, right? To provide what you're actually promising. And you definitely don't have the bandwidth and the support on your team to create free resources for people who can't afford you. So you can afford to be more generous when you actually take care of yourself really well. And that always comes first. And I know you and I both learned that the hard way. So I'm just going to put that out there. We've all been through it, but it's time to ask yourself that question.
So good.
What do you think, Ken?
I love it. That you had me thinking about that one because it is an obvious thing, but we're not really talking about it enough. But there's no reason to feel guilty about raising prices based on what you're doing and what you're offering and what the result is that you are giving people. So I would say yes to that. And I'm going to add to that, stop comparing to what others are doing because their journey is different than yours. Their background is different than yours. Their customers are different than yours. Nobody is the same. So take that out of the equation. Look at what the value is that you offer and the transformation you offer and price from that place when you need to.
Ooh, that's so good. So there's just one last thought then I'll leave everybody with, which is like you mentioned, that feeling of guilt. And if I think about raising my rates right now, I have that first impulse, right? And I think if you're a heart-centered entrepreneur with integrity, and that's why you're listening to this show anyway, you're going to have that moment of like, I don't want to leave anybody behind. What is my responsibility here? How do I be in integrity around this? And your job is also, remember, to be in integrity with yourself, to take care of yourself and your family so that you serve from a full cup.